Hey, welcome back to Totally Rad Guitars. This is going to be kind of a more relaxed video, and I'm trying something a little bit new here. Obviously, I do a lot of these long, 45-minute long videos about amp schematics and circuits and all that stuff, and I put a lot of research and effort into those kind of things, but I'm actually getting new gear all the time, and I thought it'd be fun, especially on a day like today where I got 3 new things, just to kind of talk about what I got and why and what I think of them as I'm sort of unboxing them and trying them out. Since I get so much stuff, it'd be kind of cool maybe just to do like a little series like this of whatever new stuff I'm getting, and then, you know, talk about the amp circuits. I still intend to do those kind of long form videos. And I also want to start doing some videos where I do like some quick comparisons, maybe between 2 different amps or 2 different speakers or that kind of thing. Really early on in the channel, I did a video like that where I compared a couple of oranges, and I think that was a pretty good concept for a video. I have a few ideas of how to execute that a little bit better, but I have, you know, a huge plethora of amps that I want to try out and compare, and I also have been collecting over time a huge number of Celestion speakers. There's a couple of other speakers I like to pick up before I do any kind of major comparison video, but that's something else that I've been kind of spitballing around. Obviously, I try to make myself pretty accessible. If you send me a message or an email with any ideas or something that you'd like to see, just let me know. And I guess we'll just get into it. And this is kind of my ritual. Whenever I have new stuff coming, I look at the UPS tracking information really closely, and I watch it all day, and they usually don't come until 7 or 8 p.m. at night, so it's a little too late for me to do any really loud riffing because I have neighbors. I might be moving soon, so that will be a lot of fun moving all this equipment, but hopefully it also means that I'll have a little bit bigger of a studio to do these kind of videos in. But usually what I do is I order Domino's pizza, and I unbox whatever new items I got, and if there's any like repairs, tweaks, problems, concerns, or good things about it, you know, I like to just dive straight in, get like a first impression. But especially with the detailed videos, I usually wait until I own something for at least a couple of months. I really don't think that you can get a proper feel for an amp only having it for a few weeks. So this time, the first thing I got, I'll go grab it right now. I got a Kramer Beretta off of eBay. Looks like it's from about 1987, and the price was very low. It said it needed a very honest and clear seller, which I really appreciate. It said it needed a refret job, and it definitely does from what I saw, but let me go grab that. Alright, so it came really nicely packed. I'll set this over here. This is an original 80s Kramer case, although this is the type of case that came with the Focus series, not the American Beretta, but still pretty cool case. I'll definitely use it for something. I've got a couple of American Kramer cases hanging around, so I might move this guitar to its sort of proper case and then put something else I have in this case, like a Focus or something like that, that's more appropriate. So it was really well packed. I already took the packing material out of it, but it's just sort of a standard black Kramer Beretta. The pickup has been swapped out for a different one. I haven't taken it out to actually see what it is, but it's wired up in single coil mode. So I already played this a little bit, and definitely going to have to swap that pickup out. But it does have the original knob. This is the correct body. We've got the Canon input jack there. It's a little scratched up, but it's also black, so it really shows those scratches. Not too many major nicks or anything like that. The back of the neck looks really great. And this is an E serial number, a pretty high one, so pretty close to getting into the recessed Floyd Rose territory, but this one is not recessed, which doesn't strike me as a problem or anything in this serial number range. So I think this is all original. You got the original tuners. Headstock looks nice. It's not broken. There's no evidence of any repairs or previous breaks. No cracks at the nut. And the fretboard actually looks pretty well conditioned. I mean, I've seen these really dried out and damaged before, and this is looking pretty good. You can definitely tell that the frets have been leveled. There's a couple of them that are pretty flat on the top, especially around this area, but doesn't really look like there's any major warping of the neck or any problems like that. So I think, and it's playable as is, so I'll probably just leave it like this for a little while, especially for the price that I got it for. And even if I factor in the cost of a refret, I'm still looking at having paid less for this guitar than a, you know, similar condition one otherwise. So I think that's pretty good. And I've got a drawer full of JB, original JB pickups from the 80s over here, and a couple of other pickups. I might try something a little different with this one, since I already have a couple of Berettas with JBs in them. So consider me very, very pleased. This is looking really, really great, and I got a killer deal on this, so I can't wait to fix that pickup and really put it through its paces. Alright, we'll put this one away. I'll just lean it over here for right now. And let me go grab the next one. I grabbed a Mesa Mark IV. You've probably seen, hopefully, my Mark IV video and my Mark V video. The 5 is just down here behind me. And after I did the Mark IV video, I actually sold that amp because at the time, and this is a mistake that I made, this is what I was talking about, not, you know, really knowing an amp until you spent a good amount of time with it. The Mark V really wowed me when I first got it, and it's still a great amp. I'm not saying anything bad about it. However, I do really miss the Mark IV. I think the Rhythm 2 channel was a little bit better. I really, really like the lead channel with the separate gain and drive controls. I like the Presence contour knob pull-out things in like the fat mode and the bright mode, and a couple of things that the Mark V just doesn't have the option of. The Mark V obviously has other options like the tube rectifier and all that stuff, but I really, really miss my Mark IV. So I've been hunting for one for a while. The price on them has just gotten absolutely insane. I mean, I sold mine for like $1,500, and I really regret that because at the time when I sold it, I made like $600, and I was like, great, $600, that's more money in my pocket. But now people are asking, you know, $2,500 for them, and I'm, you know, I would really like to have another one, but I'm not willing to spend $2,500 on a Mark IV. So I was kind of prowling the Guitar Center used listings, and I spotted this Mark IV head. It was just listed that day, and there were no pictures or anything, and I, you know, took a risk. Guitar Center, I've had a little bit of a love-hate relationship with them. They do a pretty bad job with descriptions and a bad job with communication. Just a little while ago, I ordered a Fender Supersonic, and they actually canceled the order without telling me, and it was a whole thing. But that's pretty normal for them, so I've just grown accustomed to that sort of thing. But this one, no picture, pretty good price, Mark IV head, and I just threw it in the cart and ordered it immediately because I didn't want to risk somebody else grabbing it. And the store actually called me to tell me that it wasn't a head, it was a combo. Which is a little bit of a disappointment for me just because I have this rack that I put together not too long ago, and my whole idea was that I could have, you know, heads in each section, and in this middle section, 2 heads stacked on top of each other. I don't really have space for a lot of combos. I've been getting rid of my combos. I sold my Jet City combo and a couple other things. But I do still have a couple of combo amps that I intend to keep around. I have this really cool Engel E101 that I've been kind of keeping on the down low because I want to do a video on that. There aren't really any other YouTube videos of that, so I'm excited about that one. So I guess I just kind of have to figure that I'm going to own at least a couple combos, so maybe it'll be okay. Let me go grab it. Alright, well, first of all, it weighs 1,000 pounds. I'll put it up on this stool here so you can see it better. Alright, so it's always a good sign when it comes with the cover on it, especially for an old amp like this. You know, these have been out of production since 2008. The head model that I reviewed before was from 1997. The way I knew that was I opened it up, I looked inside, and I looked at the date codes on the capacitors, 1997, the original caps in that amp. But this one is absolutely pristine. It is the short model, so it's not the wide body. The wide one is about 3 or 4 inches wider, gives it a little bit more bass response. And a couple of controls are, on this amp, since it's shortened, a couple of the controls, like the mid-gain switch, are moved to the back of the amp, but you still have all the exact same options as the medium length one. They're just located in a different place, and all the main controls that you actually would be using are still in the front of the amp. So this is in really, really great condition. I mean, even the sort of the corners and these little, if you look at it from the side, there's sort of a slope down in the front panel, and the point of that slope always gets scuffed up. I think it's because people lay them face down, you know, when they're retubing them or transporting them, and it scuffs up the front panels. This one's not even scuffed. I mean, this is really, really pristine condition. And if I look at the serial number here, 012 something, that's pretty late in the production run, so it's probably not 2008, but it's probably 2006 or 2007. 013 something is the end of the production run. So this is a lot newer than the Mark IV that I had before. But I love this amp, and I can't wait to really put it through its paces. And I was pretty hesitant to keep it when they told me that it was a combo and not a head, because I really wanted the head, like I said. But you know, earlier I mentioned that I was collecting Celestion speakers to do a comparison video, and this amp has the Black Shadow Celestion speaker, which is you know, exclusive for Mesa. So now I'll be able to use that speaker maybe in a comparison video too. So it's got a lot going for it. I think I might keep this one. I still have the option to return it. I just lose my shipping for about 45 days, and you know, I'll test it out, put it through its paces. But I'm glad to have a Mark IV back in the house again. I'm really psyched about that. So all right, and let me grab the last one. All right, and the last one, I've been looking for one of these for a long time. When I was a kid, these Peavey XXX amps were pretty popular, and they had this kind of hilarious looking grill with the sort of mud flap trucker girl thing on them. And I know these have a lot of gain, and I remember playing one in a Sam Ash, you know, years ago, and thinking it sounded really, really great. But at the time, I really just wanted Marshalls. And well, anyway, you used to be able to get these amps pretty regularly for like $250, $350, around that, you know, price range. Really, really cheap. And for an all-tube high-gain head that sounds pretty good, that's really, really cheap. And they're USA made too. I don't understand why these are so inexpensive, but lately the prices have gotten much, much higher. I mean, I regularly see these on Reverb for $700, $800, $900, and granted, that is the asking price. You know, they're not actually selling for that. People are accepting offers or making deals and that kind of thing. But still, that's a substantial price increase. You know, even if one sells for $500, if these were $250 or $300 before, that's almost double the price that they were going at just 3 years ago. So I was cruising the Guitar Center used listings, as I do, and I spotted this XXX for $299. I figured that was about as good as it's going to get, considering you know, the way prices have gone in 2022. So I snagged it. I haven't even plugged this one in yet. I did already play the Beretta and the Mesa already, and something interesting about the Mesa, it's also kind of funny. So when I was, you know, first learning guitar, it was about 2008, and there was a local music shop that carried Mesa amps, and I used to go in there, and the guys that worked there, usually if you were just messing around, the owner would come around and like kick you out, you know, because it was a college town and I was a college kid, and he didn't want a bunch of, like, you know, college kids that weren't going to spend any money spending a bunch of time playing $2,000 amps. But the guys that worked at that store knew me and were really nice to me and hooked me up with, they had kind of like a private back room with a couple of dual rectifiers and like some black stars and some marks and that kind of thing. And that was like my first experience sitting in a room and turning an amp up really loud and like really experiencing what I could get out of an amp. And I was a horrible player, you know, back then compared to now because I was just starting out. But I remember, it's funny, and some of you will understand what I'm talking about, but the Mesa Mark amps and the F-Series amps, or Express amps that were out about the same time, they have a really distinct smell. I can't describe it, but when I took this cover off of that Mark IV, it was like a nostalgia trip. Sent me back, you know, 15 years to 2008. It's just funny that you know, things kind of work like that. But that smell, I guess that's how you can tell it's in such good condition. I mean, probably it's sat in some guy's house for the better part of a decade, because it's crazy to have an amp in 2022 that smells just like it did in 2007. So either way, I'm psyched to set up this XXX here, and I'm gonna throw it onto this cabinet real quick. I'm gonna move that VHT temporarily and kind of see how it sounds. I don't know if this will be worth keeping in the video, but I'll just keep recording anyway and we'll figure it out. Well, that sounds pretty good for a $300 amp, I have to say. I was already looking up schematics for that one, so I'll probably do like a deep dive video where I talk about a little bit more of it and demo a couple of different other tones. But so far I'm pretty impressed with that short little 10-minute play test. So, alright, well, thanks for watching and see you next time. Bye.